Subscribe to our YouTube channel, press the bell icon and stay entertained. Tracking milestones of an incredible journey spanning 30 years, Rahman Music Sheets. As India celebrates 75th anniversary of its independence, we go back to its golden jubilee and an album released to commemorate the moment in history, celebrating 25 years of Vande Mataram, India's largest selling non-film album. 1997, three things happened almost simultaneously. India reached 50th anniversary of its freedom. A.R. Rahman decided to come up with an independent studio album. Global giant Sony Music entered India in a big way. Sony Music was India's first 100% foreign-owned record company. This episode celebrates the role a music label plays in an artist's journey and brings out the unique mass marketing perspective that shapes the contours of music but often remains behind the scene.
On the 1st of January 1997, flew down to Chennai and try and convince him that he should really start a pop career with us, that he needed to have a personality of his own. And I remember speaking to him, speaking to his mother. We left a little, paper which explains what we would do with him, which he had left on the altar, which he keeps, which he prays in. And finally, I think towards the end of January, he said, okay, let us do, I'm willing to start a pop career with you. And we started then. So we've kind of, over the 25 years, we worked with him on so many different projects. His first prop project was with us when he worked on the West End with Bombay Dreams. That again was worked along with Sony Music Worldwide. When he did a Chinese film, when he worked with M.F. Hussain, whether it was a Lagaan or whether it was Basanti over the years, we've truly been creative partners of some kind. And even now, when he does really experimental stuff, including the last one that we've done with him, which is 99 Songs, where he's really trying to be a filmmaker, turned storyteller, etc., wanted to having a larger canvas. So however experimental it was, we picked up the music across all languages.
Vande Mataram, the first collaboration between Sony Music and A.R. Rahman, released simultaneously in 28 countries, selling over 5 lakh copies in the first week. It eventually became the largest selling Indian non-film album internationally. But when the journey started, it was loaded with doubts and apprehensions.
It began first with, Rahman is going to sing, and Rahman is going to sing in Hindi. All right, which itself was the first question. What about accent? How's he going to sound? How's his voice going to sound? That was the first time he was actually singing. He's not a trained singer. There was so many at the conceptual stage. Then, the second concern really was, we are pegging ourselves to this one moment in time, and is the song really going to have a shelf life, which is really just for that period, and then it just vanishes, it has no longevity. The third, of course, was quite simply, this kind of, flag waving, however exciting it may be, and because it is still new for us, are people going to find it, or is it just like, oh my God, what happened? Because it looked too American in that sense, right? I mean, the pride and the flag and such was such an alien idea in India at that point. But frankly, I'll never forget the moment when Rahman was ready with the song. He flew to Bombay. He flew in with his mother. We rented a studio where he wanted to play the song for the first time. And there were just 2 of us in that room at that time. And he could not bear to be in the room. So he was waiting outside with his mother. And he said, okay, play the song. And then they played the song. And I swear to God, I still remember, my hair was rising. And, it just it was really powerful. And then I had no words to tell him that, oh my God, you've outdone yourself here. And so then the personal fear about do we have a hit song, all that went away. Then the concern is, so we have the product. How are we going to market such a flag-waving song outside of India to non-Indians who don't speak the language?
March 1997, Manila, the capital of Philippines. It was here, for the first time, Sony Music presented the song Maa Tujhe Salaam to the global music industry.
We presented the music at a global Sony Music Conference in Manila in the Philippines, where everybody presents music and saying, okay, these are forthcoming releases. And that was the first time a room probably of like, say, maybe 200 people were there, all senior executives, all music guys, as you can imagine, critical, cynical, as they typically tend to be. And then, lights out, and then the song plays and this thing happens. And that's when the magic of Rahman actually comes through. Everybody was just flabbergasted with, oh my God, it's a big song. You don't even need to be told it's a big occasion. And to Rahman's credit, nobody understood the lyrics, nobody understood the words, nobody understood anything, but they just understood the quality of sound and that it sounded so big and so fresh. And that's when, everybody across the world, right from whether it's in the US, between Columbia and Epic, the two labels that we had then, fighting over who should release it. It finally went to Columbia. The French company was super keen to release it, the UK company. So then there was this whole kind of push that happened, for him across the world.
Then came the promotions. The first destination, New York.
I'll never forget being on the road with him, coming to New York to do promotions, doing media interviews. We did a photo shoot for him. In those days when we came, so they sent this huge stretch limousine to pick us up from the airport. The typical used to be called Music Express. So he needed to pray, and there was sunset or something at that time. So he rolls out this mat on the back of the stretch limo, and then he starts praying. And the limo driver was thinking he's a rock star. He was asking us, hey, listen, tonight, where do you guys want to go? Which club do you guys want to go to? I'll get you in there. And next thing he sees Rahman praying at the back of his car. And he looks and says, okay, that's pretty cool. I traveled with him to UK to promote the music there. I remember we went to Champs-Élysées in Paris. There was a huge Virgin record store which had this whole Maa Tujhe Salaam flag. And you could see that his face was really the hero of his music rather than that of a film actor or that of a film that he was typically hidden behind. And from that began his, journey of self-discovery, creative expression, experimentation, all of that. That's when he realized that he has fans and the world is his playground. So since then, I think there's been no looking back either for him or I think for that matter, Indian music.
So for younger generation, this album actually redefined the emotions behind the phrase Vande Mataram, originally written by Bankim Chandra. And even today, it continues to evoke patriotic fervor. How would you react?
We got to give, not the poem as much as the phrase that we've kind of extracted from history, contemporized it, contextualized it, taking effectively a very Sanskrit-oriented phrase, Vande Mataram, and coupling that with possibly an Urdu-oriented phrase, be it Maa Tujhe Salaam, right? So I think the juxtapositioning of that as a phrase is the beauty of it. The sense that you sometimes say Maa Tujhe Salaam, sometimes you say Vande Mataram, and the fact that that is something that's entered popular lexicon is, I think, a rare moment for a song to do. Vande Mataram, Janam Janam.
Vande Mataram remains Sony Music India's largest selling non-film album. What do you say to such a feat?
Frankly, I would be disappointed if there was another non-film album that did better than this, because to me, I think this is one of those albums that cut across language, generations, and touched that chord at that point in time. And it still resonates across generations, and I hope it remains that way for a long time.
Sir, in 1997, Rahman was the first artist that Sony Music signed up from Indian subcontinent. Was it his rebellious streak that made you decide on him?
Yes, for sure. I think if you really remember in the early days, Rahman was considered a disruptive force. He truly changed, I think, the way music was produced and the kind of complex, the production values that he brought to the music. But at the first layer that we loved him for was his just raw talent and his ability to have a variety of different expressions and the sheer experimentation and freshness that he was bringing to the music. So to that extent, if we as Sony Music, I personally felt that he is somebody that he will continue to evolve. He's not going to be stuck in a certain rut because he has that in him as a person to constantly seek more, push himself more, explore new genres, explore new formats, explore new avenues of expression. And I felt that as a music company and me personally, that the kind of people that we need to attract and work with and be the beacon that who we can then also demonstrate to the next generation and the subsequent generation of people that, hey, listen, this is the career path you can look at. You can continuously evolve.
So Sony Music and A.R. Rahman's association began in 1997 and it continues till today. I want to know that what is it that makes a music label stay invested in an artist for so long?
Okay, you're right. That's a great question. I think there are multiple ways to look at that, Umesh. Yes, of course, it's almost always commercial. We are in the music business. We are not a gallery. Right? Our role is to identify artists who will evolve, who are not one-hit wonders, who will therefore have a career. Those are what you call career artists, who over a period of time develop into long-term artists. And obviously Rahman is one such thing. We treat artists like collecting art or collecting paintings. After some time, every painting becomes valuable by a legendary artist. And Sony has these relationships worldwide. Okay, for example, like a Bob Dylan, he's been with Sony from his first album till now, a Bruce Springsteen or a Beyonce or a Celine Dion, so these are all what you call, life artists who've been with the company forever. And I'd like to believe that in India, for us, Rahman is that artist.
In our next episode, A.R. Rahman joins us to celebrate Vande Mataram. We also bring you a rare interview with Rahman, recorded in 1997. Stay with us.
A lot of companies have been approaching me, and when Sony did, I thought for a moment, I gave a second thought, and so my involuntary action was no. But something said that it rang a bell,
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, press the bell icon, and stay entertained.